McDonald and Chris Warburton.
Now, dozens of organisations are warning of a crisis for supported housing because of rising costs and cuts to council funding. Services at 1 in 3 providers in England had to shut last year, adding to a total shortfall of around 325,000 places. About 500,000 people in the UK live in supported housing, which combines a secure place to live with access to a range of support services. People who use it include army veterans, people with learning disabilities and people escaping domestic abuse. We can speak to Kate Henderson, Chief Executive of the National Housing Federation. She's one of those who signed an open letter to the Prime Minister. Kate, hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for covering this hugely important issue.
Well, go on. No, I was just going to get a better understanding, really, because some people won't really know what the role of supported housing really is. I gave a little bit of an idea there, but can you explain it in a slightly fuller way?
Of course. So supported housing provides housing with support, supervision or care to help people with a range of support needs to live well and to live independently. There are currently around 500,000 supported homes across England, and residents include people who've experienced homelessness, young people who've come out of the care system who are not quite ready to live independently yet, older people and veterans, as you mentioned, adults with learning disabilities and survivors of domestic abuse. And it's a really important sort of service that will exist in your communities. There might even be supported housing on your street, but you might not know it as such. But really, really important in terms of giving people options to live well, but with that support when they need it.
So we're explaining that there's already a shortfall of places. We've said there's rising costs. We've got the cuts to council funding as well. What would the consequences be of more supported housing closing?
Yeah, so we're talking about people who are very likely to have high support needs being left without suitable housing options. So, for example, without the option of a supported home, an adult with learning disabilities might be placed in residential psychiatric care, so in a psychiatric hospital, rather than in a home where they are supported to live well but with care around them. Or, for example, a woman fleeing domestic abuse, rather than being in a supported housing scheme which is safe and there's care and support around them, they might be placed in a B&B or in a hotel, or worse still, they might not be able to leave their partner. So this is a real tragedy for those residents, and we don't want them to lose their home, but also, very importantly, their support network.
Sure.
So calling on government to step up and to step in. This has been caused by cuts over many years to council budgets. We have a spending review coming up. We have 170 organisations, charities, councils, housing providers coming together to say, government, we can stop this. We can actually invest in supported housing by funding councils to have that protected funding for housing-related support.
I'll come back to you in just a second, Kate.
Sure.
I'll also reflect what the government is saying about this. Spokesperson for the Department for Housing, Communities and Local Government say we recognise the vital role played by supported housing in helping vulnerable people to live independently and well, and the contribution it makes to tackling rough sleeping and timely hospital discharge. They also said the government is putting £2 billion into increasing social and affordable house building in the next 2 years, with details to be set out in a long-term housing strategy later this year. But let's have a word with somebody who has benefited from these services. Tyler Attack is in West London. Hi, Tyler.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Thanks for talking to us on this. So why were you living in supported housing, can I ask?
Without getting into the nitty-gritty of really horrible stuff, but I was at risk of being homeless due to family issues just before my 18th birthday.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what kind of support did you get when you arrived into supported housing then?
Yeah, so I went to the council and I was very lucky that I was in an area where there were services still available and also had spaces. And very quickly I was placed into a semi-independent sheltered accommodation for young people. The support that I got there was basically holistic and wraparound and for those who may not understand that, that means basically everything. That could be stuff like employment, in education, training. It could be stuff with benefits. It could be mental health support. Literally, everything.
How long were you there for?
It was just over a year, roughly.
Right.
It was about a year and 3 months, I think.
Okay. And how much did it help you? How much did it change your mindset? How much confidence did it give you? You know, what was the conclusion from your time there?
Massive, to be honest. When I first went in there, I was very sort of, shaken up. You know, my whole life had been sort of flipped upside down.
Right.
I didn't see opportunities. I didn't see a future. And with the support, I was able to go off to university.
Wow.
Even currently, I'm employed part-time by the same organisation that I was placed into. I volunteer a lot in the sector as well.
Amazing.
And campaign for more funding and better support and stuff like that.
So it was, I mean, essentially completely life-changing for you. So when you look at this now, and we're talking about the potential of a lot of people missing out on what you went through, you must be following this with real sadness, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, already there's not enough services, right? There's already, a massive shortfall where people aren't getting the support that they need or not the right type of support, etc. To think that more people are going to be in that situation, that hits quite hard.
Yeah. But life's good now for you. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, there's still things that I can, that I want to do, and sort of, it's not it's a constant process, and it's a never ending process. But I mean, much better than I would have been. I would have been on the streets and stuff like that, and because of those support services, I was able to avoid that. The impact is. Words can't really do it justice, really. So,
well, I appreciate you sharing your story, Tyler, and I'm glad things are doing much better. And good luck into the future.
Appreciate that one. Thanks, Chris.
Cheers, Tyler. Tyler Attak, who is in West London. I'll just quickly go back to you, Kate Henderson, Chief Executive of the National Housing Federation, just for a final word. If the government, somebody might be listening, money is tight. What would you say to the government to persuade them that this is the worthy cause for them to get behind?
Yeah, so this isn't just good for those individuals like Tyler. And you heard, he was 18 years old. He went into supported housing. They helped him with getting into education, with having stability, with how to manage bills, with how to access the welfare system, but really supporting him to get that kind of foot and stability on life. And I think that's what supported housing can do. The solution to this is to have dedicated funding for councils for housing related support. And this is a no-brainer. This actually saves the taxpayer money. This is good for individuals, but also good for the economy.
Okay.
It is much better to have people in supported housing than it is to have people who are homeless or in temporary accommodation or stuck in hospital beds when they're fit for discharge. Thank you.
Kate, thank you very much indeed. Appreciate it. Kate Henderson, the Chief Executive of the National Housing Federation. It's 26 minutes past 5.